Hey you guys, it's me again. Sorry I got sidetracked because somebody else wanted to fix my hair, of course, and I was also really excited about my friend Missy. I'm going to see her this weekend, and Jackson keeps running in here, and I was telling my story, and I accidentally slipped up and said a name, and I can't say names.
Chocolate over and the tea beat.
I'll get it off in just a minute, okay? Just go in there and
I don't get paper.
okay, you do that. He's came in here like 5 times while I was trying to do the other video, and then I said somebody's name and I had to stop it. So anyway, here we go again. This is Allie. Like I said, I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of, but I did those things because I thought that I had to do them. I thought that if I was in a situation to where a guy hit on me, or I got into a situation to where I was with the guy by myself, I'm just tuning that out right now. If I was in a situation by myself with a guy, that... Jackson! Hush for a minute, please. I understand. I'll be in there in a minute. Watch your show and be quiet, please. Okay, so I don't even know where I was at. This is Allie. Like I said, I did a lot of stuff that I'm not proud of. And I wanted to talk about one of those things because I've mentioned the people across the street quite a few times, and I wanted to give you guys a little insight on what happened with that situation. I'm not going to tell it all because it would take me a couple of days, unfortunately. But there was a guy who is from around here. He lives around here. He's a police officer. And I told you I have problems with people with authority figures, people that are authority figures, different, bosses, stuff like that. Anyway, he's a police officer. So he took psychology. He knew what was wrong with me. He had heard me talk to his wife about it. So he knew my condition, and his wife now. She wasn't his wife then. Then they were just they hadn't even started dating yet. But he had heard a couple of times me talking about what was going on with me, and how I was reacting to things and what I was doing, and I shared way too much with those people because they ended up throwing it all back up in my face and using it to hurt me, of course, because they wanted to hurt me because they thought I hurt them, which is whatever. It still hurts to talk about because I still miss all of them. I looked at them as my mother, brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, nieces. That's how I looked at them, and I still miss all of them. And I guess I always will. But there's nothing I can do about that now because I did something. I'm not blaming it all on him because I was a very promiscuous alter. But I did it because I thought I had to. I didn't know what was going on. It was right when I started seeing Dr. Kriegel, and he was trying to get things to stop, and it just it just got worse because I was at the very beginning of my therapy, and it was just not the time for me to stop, I guess. I still thought that I had to do that if I was caught in a situation with a man and I couldn't get out of it, which I never could because I always froze. But I tried not to put myself in that situation. Across where I was at, I thought I was safe. I thought I didn't have to worry about that. That was my second home. That was where I went to every day and had coffee with her, and you know, it was an everyday. It was like a family, and you know, so I forgot what was that. I hate that. Anyway, the cop started hitting on me the night him and his wife started actually dating, and it went from there. He asked to see my boobs that night. He was drunk, so I really didn't think much about it because his uncle had just died, and he was, like I said, he was drunk. Nobody else was outside but me, him, and I, you know, I think that's why he did it. But I didn't show him. I told him no, and he would call me and text me and, you know, try to get me to meet him somewhere, and I would just tell him, you know, look, she and I are too close. You know, we're too good of friends. I can't do this. But he was so persistent, and he finally got to where he knew how to push my buttons. He knew exactly what to say or exactly what to do, just like all the other men. It didn't take him very long to learn because he knew what to look for anyway, but he learned how to push my buttons, and I finally told his wife. They got married. The night they got married, as a matter of fact, or the night before they got married, well, the day they got married, I guess you could say. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was up baking cakes because I was baking cakes back then, and I was a night owl. I stayed up all night baking cakes, and instead of doing it during the day, I did it while the kids were asleep. And he had started emailing me because that's how we were communicating at the time. And he started emailing me and trying to get me to meet him out. And I told him no, that I was busy baking a cake, that I couldn't do it. And he kept on and on and on. And I tried my best to not leave the house, but it took him about 2 hours, but he finally convinced me to leave the house in my car with my husband in the bed asleep and go down the road to a church and meet him back there. And when he got out of the car, no, when everything was over, because, you know, things happened, of course. And when everything was over and I went to get back in my car, he said, oh, by the way, she and I are getting married today in a few hours. Really? Dude, really? Okay. But, you know, he had a hold on me, and what was I supposed to do? I mean, I wasn't going to tell her then because my therapy, I had just gotten into my therapy, and I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to keep my mouth shut like I was supposed to. And so I didn't say anything to her, regretfully. I wish I would have, but I didn't. And they got married, and he told me that he was going to be a good husband, a faithful husband, that he didn't want to see each other anymore. And I told him that was fine because, you know, I was trying to find a way to get out of it anyway, you know, and I thought maybe this is it. And it wasn't a week. It was maybe a week, maybe a couple of days after they got home from their honeymoon. He was ready to see me, of course. And so that would have been back in 2012, 2011, 2012, I guess, was when that happened. I can't remember when they got married. I don't remember. Anyway, that's not the point. So they got married, and he still wanted to see me, of course, and I was still there. He started to get, he was very possessive over me. Like, he saw me one day down the road from my house dropping off cupcakes at an abandoned gas station to my hairdresser that I'd made for her, and she was in a blacked out car, and he couldn't tell who was in it. He had went and took his grandparents to Ava to eat, where she was from, where my hairdresser's from, and he was on his way back, and he was in their car, so I didn't notice him when he went by. And when I got back in the car, I had, like, my doorbell's ringing. You guys, I'll be back in just a second, I promise, okay?